It's cold outside. It's winter time again, you guys. It's that time of the year. On this video, we are going to cover all my favorite decks for winter for this year, from number 10 all the way to number 1. Welcome everybody, my name is Rob. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. For those of you that are coming back, thank you for coming back, and let's get this going, you guys. This year, I have some really exciting decks that I want to show you. My number 10 is the Green Menagerie Tarot, and this deck is a super special deck. I had a hard time getting this deck, by the way. I looked and looked and looked. I could not find it at first. And then at the end, I ended up finding it through a website, but it wasn't a new deck. It was a used deck. And I was sort of hesitant getting a used deck, but in the end, it worked out perfectly. It is totally fine. The deck is in very good condition and I'm happy with it. I really enjoy working with this deck. This deck is very special in many ways. Let me show you. It comes in a box that looks just like this. It is rather a larger size box. So if we compare it to a regular size, that's how much bigger it is. It's not terribly big, but it is a little bit bigger. And it opens up this way. This is the inside of the box. As you can see here, it has magnets and it comes with a really nice book. So let me show you a bit of what this book looks like. It has that rose petal feeling to it. And you guys, this book goes right into the meaning of the major arcana and minor arcana. There's no introduction. There is nothing about the publishers or about the creators of this deck. It just goes into the major arcana. There is no spreads or anything like that. On this side of the book, you get a picture of the card, and on this side of the book, you get the meaning of the card. And you can go ahead and pause your device there and you can take a look, or you can read that and see how that book is written. It's a nice book. It's a really nice book. It's sort of thick as well. It has, the pages are not numbered, but I would say it has about 150 pages. So nice little booklet. If you get the deck, I suggest that you give it a little read. And let me show you what these cards look like. Now, the motif for this deck is green and black. That's really the colors that it has. It has a little bit of orange here, as you can see, but it's hardcover. Inside here is velvety. Here it has this ribbon so you can pull the cards out. And this is the back of the box, the side of the box. Very little writing on the box. There's really not much information about anything on this deck. And the first thing that you're going to notice is that the cards are gilded in green. I really like that. It's the only deck that I have that is gilded in green. And this deck is a collage of different motifs. And that's one of the things that really drew me to this deck. And so I'm going to show you some of the cards. Let me show you what the back of the card looks like. It is reversible. So if you read in reverse, this is a great deck. And I thought that this would be a really great deck to bring out for winter time. I haven't used it in a while. And so what I try to do, as I mentioned in other videos, is I try to bring out decks that I haven't used in a while for every season. I have so many decks, you guys, that I don't like them to just sort of sit on the shelf and not being used. You know, I don't know if this happens to you guys or not, but I get used to some decks and I go to them all the time. It's sometimes out of all of the hundreds of decks that I have, I end up using only like 10 of them or something like this. And so I don't want that. I want that all my decks get used. And so I like the change of seasons. It is an opportunity for me to bring different decks out, and I do just that. Cardstock on this deck is absolutely wonderful, you guys. I love this cardstock. It is sort of a matte, as you can see. It doesn't have a lot of shine, but the printing on it is absolutely gorgeous. This is a quality deck. It is not an inexpensive deck. This deck is going to cost you a bit of money, but I find it completely worth it. And the weight is perfect. It's not too light. It's not too thick. It also shuffles really, really well. And it's robust, you guys. So I think this deck is going to last a pretty long time. I've had my deck for about a year now, and it looks really, really good. I do use it on an often basis. Not so often, but I do use it. One of the things that I really love about this deck is really the artwork. And the muted colors and the themes and just the artwork reminds me of winter. It is a bit on the thicker side, so if you have short fingers like I do, it's going to like maybe be a little bit hard to hold, but in the end I seem to shuffle it just fine, so it's not a big deal. If we want to do a spread situation, that one doesn't work totally fine, but as you can see, it does work. So if we pick some of the cards here, let me just show you what some of these cards look like. The green and the black on the back of the cards also reminds me of winter. This is the Magician. It just reminds me of winter. This is the Lovers. This one is Death. This is a collage. So you'll go from one motif to another motif. So one of the wonderful things about this deck is that every time you pull out a different card, it'll give you a different feeling. So it's not like you're just pulling out a card from a themed deck and you get sort of the same theme over and over again. No, you get different themes with this deck. And that's really what I like about it. So look at those two cards, how different they are. If you look at this and that card, how different they are. And let me just pull one or two more. Completely different. Let's put one more. And that is the Six of Swords, by the way. And this is the Nine of Coins. So you guys, that is the Green Menagerie. And that is our number 10 deck. And let's move on to deck number 9. Deck number 9, Pholarchos Tarot by Carmen Sorrenti. And you guys, this is a fairly new deck for me. I just got it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I saw it online a lot and I thought I liked the images of it. And in the end, I'm not so thrilled about it. That's why it made it to number 9. However, it did make it to my favorites for winter because of the pictures. It gives me this winterish sort of feeling to it. So that's why it made it to number 9. So let me show you around. This is what the front of the box looks like. This is what the back of the box looks like. And if you're interested in reading that, go ahead and pause your device and so you can read that for yourself. And the box is a hardcover box. This is what the side of the box looks like, and the other side of the box. It is a hardcover box. It is a shiny sort of a box. And so let's open this guy and let me show you what's inside. It comes with a small booklet. And the booklet is okay. It's not super informative. It basically just gives you an introduction to the artist. And then it jumps right into the major arcana and minor arcana. And that's all that there is for this booklet. And here we have the cards. So it has an introduction card. And you guys, if you're interested in getting any of these decks and you want to know where I got mine, just shoot me a message and I will let you know where I got them. That's not a problem. As you can see, you guys, this is the back of the card. They are not reversible. And it is an interesting back, right? I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I'm not sure what this image really means or anything, but I did find it interesting. And you see, this is the first picture that comes around. And this one, it just reminds me of winter. It's the colors, it's the images. It just speaks winter all over the place. And so the cards are a bit bigger than a normal size card would be. And so the Pholarchos is wider and a bit taller. Not terribly bigger, but a bit bigger. Now, when it comes to paper stock, you guys, it is a shiny cardstock. Not super, super shiny, but it is on the shiny side. And as you can see, the reflection of the light in there. It does have sort of a frame here. And this paper stock is not the best, but it's not the worst. I'm not terribly pleased with it, but I'm also not terribly disappointed with it. But it could have been a bit thicker, and it just doesn't feel so lush. That's why it made it to number 9, but it is at the end of the day okay. And when it comes to shuffling this deck, Since it is a bit longer or a bit taller, it does give me a little bit of a problem. I think that the biggest problem with shuffling with this deck would be the fact that it is on the bigger side. So that's for shuffling. And if you want to do a spread with it, it does a wonderful spread, as you can see. Let's pull out some of these cards together. This one is 17, the star, a major arcana. And you see, once again, you see that motif, and it just reminds me of winter. So it's just a personal thing, but it really does remind me of winter. Here we go again with those dark colors, right? This is Dreamer of Wings, and these are some of the names that she has changed for some of the cards. Let's pull some other ones. Once again with those dark colors, but I love the artwork. The artwork on this deck is really, really beautiful. The artist is so talented. This is the Queen of Spirals, which is the Queen of Coins. Let's pull out one or two more. I think you kind of get the sense of what this deck is all about. This is the Four of Wings, and wings stand for swords. This is the Chariot, you guys. Beautiful artwork, really stunning artwork. And that is one of the reasons why I made it to my number 9 of my favorite decks for winters. So you guys, with that being said, let's move on to deck number 8. Deck number 8, El Tarot del Zodiaco. And this one comes in English and this one comes in Spanish. And so I chose to get the Spanish version. I don't have a lot of Spanish decks, so I thought that it would be neat to have this one in Spanish. This is not a very expensive deck, but you guys, this is a beautiful deck. I love working with this deck. The colors are on the darker side, so that's why it reminded me of winter as well. And it has a lot of stars, and it all takes place sort of in the nighttime. And of course, it is based on the zodiac signs, and it's just beautiful. Let me show you. Presentation on this deck is absolutely gorgeous. So this is the box, and this is the side of the box. This is the back of the box. For those of you that read Spanish, go ahead and pause your device and you can read that. And this is the other side of the box. It breaks up into 2 pieces, and this one just sort of slides out. I just love the presentation of this deck. Of course, this is a hardcover box, and the book is really, really nice as well. It's a small book, but it is a thick sort of a book. And it comes with a picture of the card, and then it comes with the description of the card. And once again, for those of you that want to read, please pause your device and take a look at that. It gives you a brief description of the planets. It gives you a brief description of the zodiac signs, and then it goes right into the major and minor arcana. That's really all there is about this book, and it's got that rose petal feeling to it, so it really is wonderful. Now inside of this box comes a talk box which is where you get your cards. It is beautiful that they put it in another talk box, but it can be a little bit inconvenient. I must confess to that one. See, as you can see here, the talk box started tearing a bit right here, but it's okay. And many of you know, or if you don't know, I really like my decks to look like new all the time. So not like new, but it's not gilded, as you can see there. This is the back of the card, and it is on the shiny side. One of the downsides about this deck is that if you are very picky, like I can be, you will see that your fingerprints stay on the back of the card because it is totally black and it is shiny. But this is what some of the cards look like. Now, paper quality on this deck is good. It's a good paper card stock. I don't mind working with it. I don't really like the fact that it's so shiny, and that's one of the reasons why it made it to number 8. But nevertheless, I really do enjoy it. It is reversible there, and it is sort of on the thicker side. So I do have a problem holding this deck. As you can see, my fingers are short, but I do manage to shuffle it. So if we do a spread with it, it doesn't work perfectly, but it does work. So let's pull out some of the cards. Let me show you what these cards look like. And by the way, you guys, when it comes to size, this is pretty much regular size. It might be a little bit bigger, but it is a pretty good size. This is the Three of Swords of Tres de Espadas as well. And I love the images on this deck, you guys. The main reason why this deck made it to my one of my favorite decks for winter is because of the colors. It has that black. It always looks like it's done in the nighttime. It looks like the whole story takes place in the nighttime. This is one of my favorite cards. This is the King of Swords, the Rey de Espadas. And as you can see, it looks like it is nighttime, right? You can even see the stars and everything. And one of the cool things about this deck is that it gives you even more information. Here you have some of the signs, and here you have the name of the card. Of course, this is the Ace of Swords. This is the Fool, or El Loco, as they call it in Spanish. And this one is kind of weird, right? Because here you see the sun, but still it looks like it is nighttime. And this deck is the edition of Cecilia Latari, and the illustrations are made by Ana Chavez. So you guys, that is number 8, El Tarot del Zodiaco. They have it in English and in Spanish. I chose to get the Spanish version, as I mentioned. And now we are going to move to deck number 7. Deck number 7, the Splendor Solis Tarot. You guys, I'm so happy to have this deck on my collection. I hesitated getting this deck because I thought that it was difficult. I thought that I wasn't really going to understand it. And, you know, at the beginning of my tarot journey, I, of course, had to get acquainted with a lot of the different tarots that I had. And so this one kind of came late in my collection. I just got this deck about maybe 3-4 months ago, and I am so happy that it's there. And it came just perfect. It came in time for winter. This is not an inexpensive deck, but it's also not a very expensive deck. And that's one of the reasons why it made it to number 7 and why it made it to my favorite list of favorite decks for winter. Because the price is so accessible for such a beautiful deck. You would think that this is an indie deck, honestly, and it really, and it's not. This is not an indie deck, but it just looks like indie. It smells like indie. It looks and feels like indie. It's crazy. That's how beautiful this deck is. And you can already see how colorful it is. And of course, the colors also remind me of winter. This is the book that it comes with. I have to tell you guys, everything about this deck is quality. This book has that rose petal feeling to it on the top or on the surface. And here it just basically goes right into the major and minor arcana. This is an alchemist deck. So if you are starting with tarot, as I mentioned at the beginning, this deck is not for beginners, I would say. But, you know, there's no rules, you guys. If you want to, if you're a beginner and you want to start with something like this, you can do it. It does give you a little bit of an explanation about the alchemist and the tarot itself. And it does have a little bit of information about how it was created. And then it gives you a picture of the card, and then it gives you the meaning of the card. You can pause your device there and you can read that if you are interested. And that is what is on the back of the book. And as well, you can pause and read that if you like. By the way, that is the back of the box. So if you want to read that, the cards are beautiful on this deck. I know I've said that 3 or 4 times, but they truly, truly are. They come gilded, and it's in that sort of matte gild, which doesn't chip away so easily. So that is always a good thing, because I've had cards with this matte and they just are robust and they last, and nothing happens pretty much to this gild. Now, this is what the back of the cards look like. They are unfortunately not reversible. So if you do read in reverse, that's going to be, or can be, a bit of a challenge. The cardstock on this deck is really, truly amazing. It's that rose petal feeling. It's not total rose petal, but it is still, if you know what I mean. So that I think that when it comes to shuffling these cards, they don't get stuck as much. It is sort of a thicker deck, as you can see here. And so I have a hard time holding it because it is thicker. Now, the size of the cards are a little bit bigger than your normal size would be, but not terribly bigger. So when it comes to shuffling, it's not the easiest deck to shuffle, but still, I tend to manage. If you want to do a spread situation, also doesn't happen so easily, but it also works, you guys. So not that big of a deal. Let me pull some of these cards out so you can take a look at them. Look at those colors, you guys. Look at that gold in there. I just absolutely love it. I love the frame of it. It is full of symbolism. This is the Four Jupiter of Sparkling Air. Alchemy of the Four of Swords is this one. So it is an alchemy deck. So if you're not used to the alchemy, then it is something that you may want to look into. And so this is the alchemy of the Nine of Pentacles. And as you can see, the picture in the middle, the colors of the pictures in the middle change. So depending on what the minor arcana suit is. This is the swords and this is the pentacles. So it changes colors. Let's see if we can pull some of the other cards here. This is the alchemy of the Queen of Wands. Priestess Queen of Living Fire. And this is the Priest King of Living Fire. Is the alchemy of King of Wands. Beautiful, really, really stunning. Colors are beautiful. This is the alchemy of the Magician, a major arcana, alchemist number 1. Look at those colors, really. Look at those drawings. And the printing of it is top quality. So for the price, for the colors, for the quality, for the printing, you really get your money's worth with this deck. Absolutely gorgeous. I recommend it 100%. So you guys, that is the Splendor Solis Tarot. So happy to have this guy in my collection. I am going to be enjoying this guy all throughout winter. And let's go now to deck number 6. Deck number 6, the Tarot of Paul's Moon. You guys, this is just beautiful. This deck is lush. This deck is elegant. This deck is full of gold and shine. And it is just all about winter and the holidays, at least for me. This deck is so beautiful. It comes in a beautiful box. You can see this box. It opens up this way, as I just showed you. This is the front of the box. This is the side of the box. Or this could also be the front of the box. It's up to you. And the other side of the box and the back of the box. You guys, this is not an inexpensive deck. This is an expensive deck. Actually, for me, it's an expensive deck. After it's all said and done, it's probably going to run you about $100. And once again, you guys, if you're interested to know where I got these decks or where I got a particular deck, because you might want to get it, shoot me a message and I will definitely share that information with you. And this is what's inside of that beautiful box. More beautiful things. Look at this booklet, you guys. It's even leather outside. It's a beautiful blue. Here it reads the Tarot of Paul's Moon. I don't know if you can read it or not, but it is leather, and then it's on top of it gilded. And it just goes right into the major and minor arcana. It's not super informative, but I have to say, it is just beautiful. That is the table of contents if you want to take a picture of that. And so, just beautiful. Of course, this is by Libra Moon Inc. And beautiful little booklet. I don't have any other booklets that look like this. I don't have any decks that have done such a beautiful job with their booklets like this particular deck. So for that, they get really a big thumbs up from me. Let me show you what these cards look like, you guys. And these are numbered copies, and this is the certificate of authenticity. It's a limited edition, and here you can see that it has been signed. This is number 280 out of 750. So thrilled to have that, really. And these are the cards, you guys. They are so lush. It just reminds me of winter. They even remind me a little bit of the holidays. I don't know if it's because of the stars and maybe the images that are in here, that some of the images and the stars just sort of relate to the Christmas holidays. And the cards are beautiful. This is the significator, which is one of the extra cards that the deck comes with. The size of the cards is a bit bigger than your normal regular size, you guys. This is what a normal card size looks like, and this is how much bigger this one is. So, and the cardstock of this particular deck is pretty good. It's not so thick, it's not so thin. Well, it is on the thinner side, I would have to say. I would have liked it to be a little bit thicker, but nevertheless, it's very good paper. It is not completely glossy, but it is semi-glossy. It is not gilded. I think they kind of missed there. I think that a gold would have been really nice on this deck, but doesn't have to be. It's okay. Those are just minor, tiny little details. When it comes to shuffling, this is sort of a thicker deck, and I have problems with this deck. I can barely reach, as you can see. So shuffling this deck can be a little bit of a challenge, but then it just falls because the cards are very friendly to shuffle with. I don't think you are going to have a problem other than the fact that the deck might be a little bit too thick. But if you get to overcome that, or perhaps you have longer fingers than I do, then you won't have a problem with that. And if we do a spread with this deck, it just works perfect. Let me show you what some of these cards look like. These cards are inspired in the Middle Ages, so it's a Middle Ages deck. This is the Seven of Wands. One of the reasons why it made it to my favorite winter decks is because of the colors and the Wheel of Fortune, and it is a pretty easy deck. It is RWS inspired, so if you are starting with tarot, this is a deck that you can use. And if you're seasoned with tarot, it's a deck that you're going to want to love to use, I think, because I love using this deck, really. It is one of my favorite decks in my collection. Five of Wands. And I have to tell you guys that the Devil, this is not one of those decks that I fell in love with at first sight. It did take a little bit of time for me to get acquainted with it and for the deck and I to relate to each other or to connect, but we finally did. And it didn't take long either. We were able to connect pretty much on the second or third week. And now I just love it. It was just one of those decks that when I opened the box and I thought, oh, I don't know about this. And something just didn't sit well with me. But, you know, after a while, we connected so well. And now I just really enjoy this deck. So that is the Tarot of Paul's Moon. And that is deck number 6. Now we're going to jump to deck number 5, you guys. Deck number 5, the Slow Tarot by Lacy Bryant. And as far as I'm concerned, these are all paintings and they sit in a gallery in the San Francisco Bay Area for what I've read. And so a little bit of piece of information for you. There is the back of the box and you can read that at your own leisure. The box is beautiful, you guys, and it just totally reminds me of winter. That's why it made it to number 5. Not only is the box beautiful, but the cards are absolutely stunning. They are all pieces of artwork. I actually would love to have some of these paintings and have them hanging on my house because it is just so beautiful. The box opens up in a 2-part, like what you're seeing here. That's the top part of the box. This is the bottom part of the box. This is the booklet that comes inside. It is very, very small. It doesn't give a lot of information. It is RWS inspired. It gives you an introduction. It gives you a foreword. What is tarot? And the reading and seekers and guides and it goes into the interpretation and then right away into the major arcana and minor arcana. So that's pretty much it for that little booklet. Nothing really to it. And these are the cards. One of the reasons why this deck made it to number 5 is because the cardstock quality is that linen paper, and I find it a little bit too slippery for me. But I just love the paintings so much, and I really do enjoy all the artwork that's in there. And as you can see here, it is not gilded. So this is what the back of the card looks like, and it is reversible. By the way, you guys, I got this deck not too long ago. I got it about 4 weeks ago, so I'm super excited. I've worked with it a little bit, but I haven't really gotten to use it that much. And for what I have done with it, I've totally enjoyed it. So when it comes to shuffling, it is pretty easy to shuffle because it is that linen cardstock. It can go all over the place if you're not careful. I don't have a problem shuffling this deck. And card size is regular card size. I don't need to compare it to any other because it is regular card size. And when we look at the colors of this deck, they just look very winterish to me. So that is why it made it to number 5. They look like they're just pieces of artwork on your hands. This is the Knight of Swords. And if you want to do a spread with this, this works just beautiful. Look at that. Yeah, because of the cardstock. The cardstock leads for beautiful spreads like this. Let's pull some of the cards. Let me show you what some of these cards look like. This is Temptation, and she's changed some of the names, such as this one. Look at that artwork. Isn't that gorgeous? I love the artwork on this deck. That's why it is number 5. This is the Three of Wands. It is just beautiful. It's chatty. It is soft, but it gives you direct answers. It really tells you what it needs to tell you, and it tells it to you in a way that it's not so blunt. It lets your imagination fly a bit, and that's something that I really like about this deck. This is the Eight of Wands, by the way. I really love that. Look at that. It's not just wands flying through the air. They're actually being carried by birds, and they are on fire. So can you imagine having this painting on a wall in your house? I don't know about you guys, but I would love that. I was thinking that next time I go to San Francisco, which I have no idea when that will be, I am definitely going to stop by the gallery and I am going to say hello, and I'm going to find out how much one of these paintings cost. I could probably never afford it, but wouldn't that be wonderful? This is the Eight of Coins. Let's pull a couple more for you. This is the Eight of Cups. See, look how beautiful, right? It looks like they belong in a museum. I love the fact that this is real artwork printed on my cards. And by the way, you guys, now that we're talking about this, I got a comment one time because I have a couple of decks that are AI generated, and I got a couple of people saying that they couldn't believe that I liked an AI generated picture and that I support that. I never said that I supported an AI generated picture, but that particular deck didn't bother me at all, and I thought that the AI pictures looked okay. Of course, you guys, when I see something that is human made, when I see an artist put their work on a card, I think that is so much better than AI, but sometimes people get too excited and they say things, and that's okay. But I'm all about artists. I'm all about art and work that the artists do. And so AI is okay, but it's not what I would prefer. Of course, I would prefer when a real human uses their hand and creates a beautiful piece of artwork. And this is what this deck is all about. It's about that beautiful artwork that so many of our artists do that go unrecognized. But with this particular deck, I have to say, Lacy Bryant, you have done a fabulous job, in case you're listening. So you guys, That is the Slow Tarot, and that is deck number 5. Now we're going to jump into the last 4 decks of our review. Now we're going to jump into the 4 last decks of the group. And you guys, you will not believe what the number 1 is. So let's get to it. Deck number 4, Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot. This is just a lush deck, and the reason why it made it to number 4 is because it's lush. It reminds me of the holidays. Also the artwork, of course, and it is just a piece of artwork, by the way. If you are not familiar with tarot, this might be a deck that you might want to wait on getting, because, well, you're going to see just why. It is not RWS, and so it can be a bit confusing. Look at this box, you guys. It is absolutely gorgeous, right? This purple is absolutely stunning, and it is elegant, and it's lush, and it opens up this way. It has magnets here on the side. This is the book that it comes with. And it is a beautiful lush rose petal here. And so the book goes on, it goes into the major minor arcana. It has a picture of the card here, and then it gives you the meaning of the card here. Really nice little book. It's not very thick, by the way. It is about 90 pages. And let me show you what these beautiful cards look like. These cards are on the bigger side, you guys. Look how beautiful that is. They are completely gilded in a beautiful gold. Absolutely beautiful. Now, this is sort of a newer deck for me. I haven't really worked with it that much. I've done 1 or 2 readings with it. Now, if you want to compare the size, look, this is a much bigger card. Like really a lot bigger. So that's that for size. So when it comes to shuffling, prepare to get creative, because I can't even reach it. This is going to have to be shuffled this way or any other way that you can think of, because they are big cards. Now, when it comes to the paper stock quality or the card stock, it's pretty good. I find it to be a little bit on the thinner side, but still, it is okay for what it is. And look at those images. They are just pieces of artwork. They are purely pieces of artwork. What I really like about this card, because I thought at the beginning it was going to be a little bit hard for me, but you do get up here the name of the card, of course, and down here you get some keywords, or you get a little bit of the meaning of the card. So, for example, this is the Lover's card, card number 6. Integrate the masculine and feminine duality. Opposites attract. Unity, partnership, making a decision, moving freely from the heart. And that is just one example. So look at this. So there's really no characters in there. There's no animals in there. There's no objects in there. They are just pure pieces of modern, I should say, artwork. And I love it. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's creative. I think it's original. It's something like I've never seen before. Let's pull some of the cards. By the way, the spread works perfectly on this deck. And let's pull some of the other cards. Look at this. Look at these images. This is the 4 of Wind, which is the 4 of Swords. Rest, recovery, contemplation, a retreat to fully charge. Cleansing your energy and listening for wisdom from spirit. Wind, Sprite. A young, curious heart, energized and motivated, passionate dreams, new ideas, and fresh starts. One more. Learn to dream. Welcome the new and energetic, creative young soul, a messenger. Be open to the unexpected and unusual. This is the Sea Sprite. So the names are a bit different. It doesn't really have any images that you would be able to relate to, because they are abstract paintings. And if that is something that you're not into, then maybe this deck might be something that is not for you. But I am an art lover. And so for me, this deck was definitely a go-getter. I needed to get this deck, and it is from the colors and from the paintings And from the artwork, definitely a winter deck for me. At least that's what it resembles to me. So you guys, that is the Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot. And now it's time to move on to the 3 last decks. Deck number 3, you guys, the Crimson Asteria Tarot. This is lush, this is luxury, this is to me holiday time. The colors, the feel of the paper, the feel of the deck, the drawings, it just all speaks to me and says holidays and winter time. So let me show you, for those of you that are not familiar with this deck, and for the ones that are, it is always a beautiful thing to take a look at this deck, whether you've seen it before or not. This is the box that it comes in with. Look at that. Everything about this deck is luxury, you guys. Everything. So it costs also a good amount of money. But I am so excited that this deck is on my collection. By the way, I've had this deck for about 1.5 years, so I've had time to use it and work with it. And the box breaks into 2 pieces like that. This is what the inside of the box looks like. It comes with a small booklet, and this is that small booklet. The small booklet is nothing to brag about. It just really jumps into the major and minor arcana, and I think the booklet could have been a little bit better, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. I thought that the book could have been a little bit more professionally done, but that's just my opinion. This is a rose petal feeling on the surface of the book. This is the back of the book and what it reads. You can read it. You can pause and read it there if you like. And let me show you what these beauties look like, you guys. This is a hardcover box, by the way. Very, very nice box. Very, very sturdy. And these are the cards. You guys, these are beautiful. Look at the color already of the gilding. Is that Christmas for you or what? Is that New Year's for you or what? I mean, it is for me. Now, if we compare the size of the cards, they are a bit bigger than your regular size card, as you can see. They are wider and they are longer than a regular card. And when it comes to cardstock, this cardstock is one of the best cardstocks in my entire collection. They are that rose petal feeling, but not totally rose petal, if you get my drift. They are sort of like in between rose petal and a linen, so they shuffle pretty well. They are thick, they are robust. I love the back of the card. Look at that, with that gold and that red. They are reversible, by the way. Well, not really. No, they're not really reversible. So, but I guess I said that they're reversible because you could really do it if you want to. And if you're not looking too carefully, I guess it would fly. Let me try to shuffle these cards. I can't do it. They're just too thick. Look, and they're too big. So shuffling with this deck is not the easiest. You're going to have to find a creative way to do it. At the end of the day, I can do it, but still, it is difficult. So that is a bit of a warning. If you have small hands, they are also a little bit on the heavy side. So I've heard some of my viewers and they said, you know, I have problems with my hands. So I can't lift things that are too heavy. The cards might be too heavy. If that's the case for you, then be aware of that. If you want to do a spread with this deck, it works okay. It doesn't really work the best, but it works okay. Now let's go over some of these images because these are just beautiful. And the colors are so total wintertime for me. Also, the way that the drawings are just complete wintertime. This is the Knight of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles. I love it. There is no cat there, but there is a rabbit. We have here the Queen of Swords. I love the frame on them too, you know, and I love the simplistic side of the motif of this deck. It's just simple, elegant, beautiful, festive. I bring this deck out whenever I have whenever I'm feeling like I'm going to be doing of course, all of my readings are special, but whenever I'm feeling lush or whenever I'm feeling elegant or whenever I'm feeling like I want to impress somebody, I would take this deck with me. And so this is the Hanged Man, and it works really, really well. And the Seeker really, really loves this deck. So you guys, that is the Crimson Asteria, and that is deck number 3. And now we're going to jump to deck number 2. Deck number 2, the Serpent and the Peacock. I got the Tarot Art version, printed in Italy for Libra Moon Inc. Publishers signed and numbered edition. There's only 750 sets of this deck, and I was lucky enough to get one of them. You guys, this just reminds me of winter. This reminds me of the holidays. It is lush. It is beautiful. It's elegant. It is Middle Ages themed. For those of you that are familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about. This is the box that it comes with. It is rather a large box. If we compare it to a regular size box, you will see that it's that it's a lot bigger. It doesn't even fit in my camera here, the whole box. So it opens up like this. This is what the back of the box looks like. There is really not a lot of writing in there, but I am showing you what it looks like. By the way, you guys, this is, as you could imagine, an expensive deck, so you have to have the budget for it. I splurged. That's all I can say. The book is beautiful. It comes with this book inside, and the book is big, and the book is thick, and it really does justice. This is a wonderful book. Here, the cover of the book is that rose petal feeling. That's the back of the book. And this is the table of contents. You can pause there and take a look at that. It gives you a picture of the card, and it gives you the meaning of the card on the other side. And that's pretty much that there is to this book. It jumps right into the major arcana and into the minor arcana, but very well written, and just a beautiful book. Let's open up this beauty and let me show you what's inside. Once again, it opens up like this. It has two magnets here on the side. This is what the inside of the box looks like. It's the sun moon sign here, which is beautiful. And this is velvet here. It comes with a piece of cloth here, so you can pull the cards out. This is the inside of the box, and it reads, "We live by the sun, feel by the moon, learn from the cards by the light of the Libra moon." Cute. This is a numbered edition, and so I got 684 out of 750. Publishers signed and numbered, edition by Libra Moon Inc. 750 sets printed in Italy, as I mentioned already. And so it's signed, and this is the authenticity card. And this is what the back of the card looks like. They are not reversible. No, they are reversible. Sorry. Yeah, they are reversible. So for those of you that read in reverse, that's perfect. And this is what the cards look like. Now, before we get into that, let's talk about cardstock quality. Now, that is the main reason why this deck didn't make it into number 1, because the cardstock is a little bit too thin. It's got that rose petal feeling to it, but it is not so total rose petal like many of the other decks that we featured today. This one is easier to slide, so when it comes to shuffling this deck, you won't have that much of a problem. The gilt is that matte gilt, so that it won't chip away, so that is good if you like to keep your decks looking new like I do. And they are not terribly big. When it comes to card size, they are not that much bigger. They're just a bit wider, as you can see. And so if we want to shuffle this deck, you're not going to have I don't have a problem with it. And by the way, it comes with extra cards. These are the extra cards that it comes with. I have separated them so that they don't all mix. And this is how shuffling this deck looks like. Not bad at all. A bit on the thin side, as I described, but really still okay. If we want to do a spread on this deck, it doesn't really work good, but it works okay. Let me show you what some of these images look like, because they're truly astonishing. Once again, they are RWS inspired. So, Ace of Swords. Very easy to read. If you're starting with tarot, I think you're not going to find it hard. If you're seasoned with tarot, it's also a beautiful deck to have in your collection. This is Judgment. I love this Judgment card. Isn't that beautiful? And once again, it made it to number 2 for winter decks because of the colors, because of the images. It just reminds me of the winter. This one is the world. Look at that. That is in some countries what they would call the tree of life, right? So, and with the tree of life, you see everything in one person's history. And so that you can see that here depicted, right? From the beginning all the way until the end. It is just stunning. I love it. It is meaningful. It's deep. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful, the Two of Swords? And once again, the colors. The colors just remind me of those winter days. And I am going to be definitely enjoy my winter with this deck. This is the Page of Pentacles. And this is the Ace of Wands. This is the Ten of Coins. So you guys, that is deck number 2, the Serpent and the Peacock. Absolutely beautiful. I am so happy to have this deck in my collection. I am totally going to enjoy my winter with it. And so you guys, with that, we go to deck number 1. Deck number 1, the Heptic Tarot Deck and Guidebook by Nick Jacobs. You guys, I am in love with this deck. I just got it about 2 weeks ago, and I am so happy to have gotten this deck, not only because I love it, and not only because it came in time for winter, but I was in touch with Nick, and which is the creator, and he said to me, we are not going to be making the indie version of the deck anymore. We're going to go into mass production. And so I am so happy that I was able to get one of these copies, because there is no more copies anymore. I think I got one of the last ones. So I am thrilled, and I knew that I was going to love this deck from when I saw the reviews online, but I had no idea I was going to totally fall in love with it. It has gotten to be not only one of my favorite decks for winter, but one of my favorite decks in my collection. I am totally in love with this deck, and it is perfect for winter, by the way. So let me show you, in case you've never seen this deck before. This is the box. This is the side of the box. This is what it reads on the back of the box. If you're interested in reading that, please pause your device. This is the other side of the box. It is hard cover box. It breaks into 2 pieces. That is the book that it comes inside. This is the inside of the box. You guys, there's so much detail that went into making this deck. Everything is well coordinated. The colors are absolutely beautiful. The images are beautiful. They are inspired on paintings, but I love what he did with it. You're going to see a lot of hands on this deck. It is beautiful. This is the book that it comes with. It is a thin booklet. It just gives you maybe a couple of spreads. It gives you the meaning of the major and minor arcana, and that's pretty much it. Here it gives an introduction, the inspiration, the creative process, and that's pretty much it for the book. It is on the thinner side, and this deck is really well thought out. So when it comes to creativity, I really give this deck a thumbs up. When it comes to cardstock, this cardstock is really beautiful. It can be a little bit maybe on the thinner side, but at the end of the day, this thinner paper stock can be good, because if you have small fingers like I do, then it won't be hard to shuffle it. This is what the back of the card looks like. They are reversible for those of you that read in reverse. And let me show you, they're not gilded, as you can see. And let me show you what it would be like to shuffle this deck. It shuffles just really well. By the way, you guys, when it comes to size, let me show you what this deck looks like. It is taller and it is wider. So it sort of reminds me a little bit of an oracle deck size. If you do a spread situation with this deck, it doesn't work totally perfect, but it still works and you'll be able to do it. But you guys, this made it to number 1 for so many reasons. I think reason number 1 is the printing, the colors, the images. I relate to this deck like I relate to very few other decks in my collection. And I said that to Nick when I wrote with him. It's beautiful. And it is winterish, right? The colors are sort of muted, and I love it. Look at this Temperance card. It is just Wanderlust. Look at this 10 of Cups. Isn't that beautiful? They are framed, so they have a small frame. But nevertheless, I think they're beautiful. I hear a lot of comments and people saying, "Oh, I wish it would be borderless." I really don't mind that it has a frame. It sort of looks like a painting in a frame. I think that without a frame, it still, of course, could be a painting, but I think that the frame gives it a little bit more personality and it gives it a little bit more structure. So I don't mind a frame, really. This is the Knight of Wands. You'll never see a face. You'll always just see a hand and objects. The Eight of Wands. Look at the Two of Swords. This is the Six of Swords. I'm so happy that I was able to get one of the last of his decks, because before he goes into mass production, I feel so lucky that I did. This is the Five of Coins. Don't you love that? It's snowing. The hand looks like it's very, very cold. There's the coins there. He can't seem to reach them. Here we have the Four of Swords. And you guys, that is deck number 1, the Heptic Tarot by Nick Jacobson. Beautiful deck, absolutely stunning. So happy to have this deck as part of my collection. And I'm really, really happy to say that this deck made it to number 1. You guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave me a message. Tell me, do you have some of these decks? Are some of these decks on your wish list? Let me know, you guys. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, if you want to know where I got any of these decks, just shoot me a message and I'd be more than happy to share that information with you. Thank you for watching. And as I always say, you guys, until the next time.